Hello, and welcome to another mind-boggling episode of We Only Look Thin.
Mind-boggling.
I am Donald Weigel.
And I am Catherine Weigel. And together we are, say our names at the same time, Catherine Weigel.
I got very confused trying to say my name at the same time as you.
I don't know, I guess we're not going to be the singing sensations. We finish each other's sandwiches, whatever.
I can't even walk and chew gum at the same time, let alone
Have you ever, I should post that video of you chewing gum.
Of me chewing gum? Oh my God.
Everyone loved the Coca-Cola video.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I don't know about the chewing gum
video. Chewing gum is like watching a circus performer ride a tricycle backward.
I don't like chewing gum. I haven't done it since I was about 14 years old on a regular basis. And
I imagine you in like a sailor suit with like a giant, for some reason.
Giant like lollipop that's
but you're chewing gum
big
also.
as my head. Yeah. And
then something really bad happens.
I had a secret big league chew incident when I was playing Little League.
Aww.
No, that's not true at all. I just don't like chewing gum.
He looks really weird. If anyone can look weird chewing gum, it's him. It's like it's happening backward.
She made me chew gum within the last year and then laughed and laughed. It was hilarious for her.
I think I just snorted on national television. Oh, there we did. We talked at the same time.
Jinx, buy me a
Coke?
LaCroix?
Anyway, hi.
Hello, everyone. Now that that's out of our system, this episode, we are going to follow up with Kate.
Yay!
It's actually been 3 weeks since we recorded our, I think we mentioned that later on in this episode, but since we recorded the initial interview with Kate, and we're going to check in, see how she's been, see how she's doing, and see where she's going to be.
Yeah, and I want to say that the response to our first Kate episode,
The Kate-isode,
the Catening, that's it.
The Catening.
Was really personal. Great. And I know we have talked about gaining and losing weight many times over decades, but there's something about, being inspired by someone who is at goal, like us, is one thing. But being inspired by someone who has come forward in the middle of the struggle and is working their way back down, we're all in this together. There is no finish line. And I know we keep saying that, but wherever you are in your journey, you're inspiring someone. Someone wishes that they were the weight you are today. Someone wishes they had your activity level. And, let that inspire you to be your best and to move forward with sustainable lifestyle changes. We are so excited to be following Kate's journey, but this is a real person with, we don't know what's going to happen. We are cheering her on and we are supporting her. She's in our accountability group, which is awesome.
We know she can do it, and we know that we also know that she needs support and that we need support. Being at my goal weight, I feel a lot of times like I'm hanging on by a thread. I could go back to the person. Well, I am still the same person. I could physically go back to the person that I was at any time, really. Well, and this is about being together and working lifelong to maintain health.
Yeah, and for me, I am part of a couple of accountability groups. I'm in the Half Size Me community, the We Only Look Thin player community, and
Grandma Business.
Someone actually mentioned wanting more Grandma Business. We got to bring that back.
I'm Grandma Business.
And Grandma, it's time for Wapner. But I see people in all phases of their journey, and it feels really good to be with a group of people who have heard the same messages, who are working on loopholes, who are working on sustainable changes. But we still do come across people who are at the get thin quick phase.
Yeah, I think Catherine just joined in another online group recently, and
because I need to be inspired.
And she was telling me that so many of the people in there were just saying, "Oh, I have 6 weeks to get into a certain outfit for a wedding, and so I'm going to do this extreme plan or that extreme plan." And
you know, I'm sure I can lose 3 pounds a week, but for the next 6 weeks, right? Like, and everyone's, you know, and the other people in the community are going, yeah, you can do it. And I'm going, oh, dear Lord, please don't.
Don't do that. You know, it's not about...
Because I'm a killjoy bummer.
We're the fun police, basically. And
we're actually going to do an episode on being the fun police.
Yeah, and I just like the name Fun Police. We try and come up with
the band
names,
name.
and then we try and fit the episodes to the name.
We do.
And I think that it's, you know, one thing that we always try and talk about is that it's small, sustainable changes. There is no one weird trick to weight loss. There's no you know, get thin quick plan that is going to last the rest of your life. I just don't believe it exists. And you know, the only way you're going to get there and the only way that you're going to stay there is by making changes that are sustainable, things that you can keep up for the rest of your life.
And a really big shift for me in this last 2.5 years has been the dealing with the emotional side of it, because, you know, someone posted, and I've done this too. It's not like I'm talking down to anyone, but someone was like, oh, I got my meal plan and I got my exercise plan and I'm going to work out with my trainer 6 days a week. And I'm also doing boxing on top of that. And then I'm also doing a fast. And, you know, is any of that sustainable? Is that what you want your life to look like? Do you want to be told what to eat for the rest of your life? I know when I'm feeling out of control, and when I did at 250 pounds, I wanted someone to take over. But that's not sustainable. What I had to work on was the reasons I ate emotionally. And, you know, so you could probably lose 3 pounds a week doing a crazy plan. But are you going to survive past that one event, that one wedding, that one reunion? I want to see everyone stay on track and accountable and have days that are more indulgent than others and live real life, because that's what this is about. I remember when I was doing the cabbage soup diet, I didn't want to go see a friend at college because I didn't want to go off my cabbage soup plan. And I remember her at the time going like, come on, like, you're staying home this weekend because of cabbage, you know, but I felt so white knuckled to just stay within what I could control that I wouldn't even go visit my friend. And, you know, living in a world that you can be aware, make adjustments, deal with the unexpected, you know, all of that is so important. And, you know, a quick plan is not going to get you where you need to be forever.
Yeah, and I think that you said that wonderfully, and I think that brings us back to Kate.
Yay!
Who is also trying to implement small, sustainable changes, and I think we should check in with her and see how it's going.
Ooh, should we call this episode Kate Judgment Day? Like Kate Part 2?
Kate Part 2, that's an excellent idea.
Okay. Yeah. There is no Judgment Day. It's all just a journey.
In the second act, there's a twirling shotgun and a motorcycle for some reason.
Yeah, and it's a Terminator reference, everybody. So.
Yeah. I think they figured it out when you said Judgment Day. I think people know what that is.
They might. So yeah, please don't try to do anything extreme. We don't have all the answers, as you know, very clearly, but there are very clearly. But we did lose 100 pounds. I believe we did it in a sustainable way. And there was no, you know, it took us both 2 years. And well, in a way it took us a lifetime. It took me 40 years.
Yeah. But
there was one set of footprints.
That was very funny. But
I almost lost my voice when I said that.
Yeah, but you know, try and do this in a gentle, sustainable way. And speaking of gentle and sustainable, I think it's time to talk to Kate. I don't know.
She's gentle. She's sustainable. It's Kate. So again, thank you so much for the outpouring of support for the Kate episode. And thank you also to Kate for sharing your story. This is vulnerable. I think we even talked about her having a vulnerability hangover. Like, there was so much support. It's scary to put yourself out there publicly when you're doing well and when you're struggling. So thank you for being on this adventure journey with us and with Kate. And enjoy this follow-up episode.
Yes, and if you want more, please let us know you want more. Please rate us on iTunes.
Follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram. Facebook. Find us on our website. And
share
this podcast. Let other people know about it.
And so, without any further ado,
there's been lots of ado so far.
This is all ado, basically.
It's all ado, but now we'll get to the actual heart of the episode and check in with Kate.
All right, here we go. So remember, we are on inspiration. Don looked at me and was like, "What?" We're inspirational. We'll talk to you later. Enjoy this interview with Kate. Bye. Hey there, it is Catherine from We Only Look Thin, and we are talking to Kate again, who you may recall from a previous episode. Hi there, Kate.
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Donald. Hi, everyone.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. Really, really good. How about you?
We're good. So I think the most important thing is it's actually been 3 weeks since we have talked. And the most important burning question is, how have we inspired you over the last 3 weeks? No, that's not really the most important question. How have you been? How's it been going?
It's been going really, really well. I have, all sincerity, been very inspired, been feeling great. And I will say, honestly, every time I've started a new plan, the first week at least or two, always feel great. But I was thinking about it as we got ready to talk. And this time does feel very different than other times because I'm making much more gradual changes. Most times when I've tried to lose weight, I jump right in, both feet, change a million things, working out 5 days a week, eating totally differently. Everything's different. And within a week or two, I'm burning myself out. And this time has been very much the opposite of that. Small steps, totally achievable. And I'm feeling really, really great 3 weeks in.
So that's great.
So I know you set out some ideas of things that you were going to accomplish in the first week. And I know you had some pretty bad weather the first week on your plan. Can you kind of talk to us about how your first week went? What went well?
Sure. The biggest thing for me was really stopping sugar. And I knew when we talked about it that was going to be the hardest thing for me and probably also the most important thing for me. And I will say it was the hardest thing. For probably about 10 days, it was really, really tough. I wanted it all the time. I would eat lunch and then I would expect a dessert. I would eat dinner and then I would want a dessert. Middle of the day, I wanted sugar. And I didn't have it. I've now gone 3 weeks without having it. And by the time I got to that about 10-day point, it became so much easier. Not to say that I don't still occasionally have a moment when I see someone eating a cookie and I think that looks good, but it's not the sort of all-consuming urge that I was having at the beginning. So I think that's really by far the biggest change. It was the hardest of the changes that I've made, but I also think I feel the most benefit from it.
Oh, that's great.
Well, and I know too, you celebrated the Easter weekend, and I believe you got through Easter without sugar. How did you manage that?
Yep, I did. And honestly, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. There was sugar everywhere. I was at my sister's with all my family. There were tons of delicious looking desserts, but my mom had also brought a bowl of fruit. And I just didn't really think about it much. I went into it very committed. So Easter happened to fall right at 2 weeks. And I had told myself once I made it through 2 weeks, I was going to give myself a little reward. And I thought, this isn't worth it to me. I can eat the fruit and I'll still feel great tomorrow. And if I ate the sugar, I knew I would feel worse, both physically and mentally, about having done that when I committed to myself and to you that I wasn't going to do that. And it really worked. I will say during that first week, I think twice I woke up from dreams where I was binging on sugary treats and woke up and just felt relieved that it wasn't real.
That has happened to me too.
Yeah. I've had those dreams
something
also.
Something happened where I thought I had gone to Costco and eaten all the muffins, and I woke up and I felt like really upset, and then I realized it was a dream, but I still had that residual guilt. So that That definitely happens. So it sounds like abstaining is really something that resonates with you. Is there anything else in the last couple of weeks that you've had to abstain from or replace your sugar with something else?
I really haven't. And it was interesting too. I was thinking about looking at these past 3 weeks. What were my successes? What were my failures? And I realized even the things I didn't quite do the way that I thought I would, I don't think of them as failures. So at that same Easter meal, I ate 3 biscuits. And in the past, I would come home and said, that was terrible. I was terrible. I ate 3 biscuits at Easter dinner. But you know what? I didn't look at it that way. I looked up how many calories those 3 biscuits were. I was still in a range that I felt really good about for my calories for the day. I wasn't overly stuffed and I didn't eat sugar. So I still considered the day a win. Was 3 biscuits my healthiest option? No, but I'm okay with it and not beating myself up about that.
Yeah, I think that's important. And, it's funny, Catherine and I were just having a discussion about this this morning about how it's important to not think of yourself as being good or bad in this whole process, or you're not good or bad because of your choices. They're just the choices that you're making. And sometimes I want to eat things that are, not considered healthy, but I keep them within my calories and move on. And it's important to make those things a part of your life, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and life happens. I mean, you've got Easter, and then I know you have a big event coming up next weekend, don't you?
Yep. My mom is getting married next weekend, so I will be in her wedding, and there will be, a number of food-related activities around that with rehearsal dinner, wedding, brunch the day after, a lot of exciting things, and also a lot of food-related things.
So in the past, say a couple of years ago, when you were faced with an event like that, a special occasion or a big family event, what would you say you did then, and how will you adjust that now? So were you super strict before, and now you realize you need to be a little bit more balanced, or kind of what have you learned from your past austerity measures?
Yeah, I think it's really just moderation. And I think depending on which sort of before we're talking about, there's a lot of periods of time when I would look at these occasions as a total free-for-all. Eat everything I want. My mom's getting married once. I'm not really sure why that gives me freedom to eat everything, but I would feel like it did. Eat all the things. And then...
Heck, I want to eat all the things knowing your mom's getting married.
Yes, your mom's getting married. I will eat all the things.
I'm so happy. I will eat.
Kate's mom only gets married once.
It's true.
What's stopping me?
Loopholes. That's what's stopping me.
Oh.
And then a couple years ago when I was losing on a different plan, I would have been really pretty strict with myself. And I would have, maybe eaten before I went to the dinner. And really just sort of stuck as closely as I possibly could to exactly my plan. And this time I would say it's moderation, and I'm going to be somewhere in between the two. I'm going to be conscious of it. Each day there's one meal that's really going to be sort of the big deal meal, and I'll be planning for that with how I eat the rest of the day. And then really just sort of choosing the middle path, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking to no sugar. I might have a piece of cake at the wedding. I haven't entirely decided about that. But if I do, that's going to be the only sugar that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I spoke to someone yesterday in our accountability group who was headed to a wedding last night, and she was very worried about what she was going to do and how many calories, she should estimate. And I have to remind myself of this, and I reminded her that it's not the event necessarily that's the issue. It's what you plan for the day after and getting back on track. Because I know in the past for me, it's been like, well, it's Sunday now, and yesterday was great. Let me just indulge a little bit more before I get back on track. So it's really the after the event, I think, that has a big impact, how you kind of recover from maybe more indulgent choices. I know I still struggle with that. What has been easier than you anticipated in the last 3 weeks?
I think in general, the whole process, once I got past the sugar piece, has been easier. I am not fully counting my calories, but I'm being mindful of them. So I do journal everything that I eat every day. And a few times I've logged it into MyFitnessPal to get a sense of the calories I'm eating on an average day and make sure I feel good about it. And not having sugar has also given me a much better, stable energy. I'm not having those highs and then crashes that I was constantly having when I was eating sugar multiple times a day. And I think that alone has made a really huge difference in making everything feel easier.
Yeah.
I was a little bit surprised by how dramatic of a difference it was and really how quickly I felt it. I think within 3 or 4 days of stopping sugar, I could tell a really big difference in my energy level.
Yeah, that's big. Like if you can recognize that and try and remember how you feel when you're eating the sugar and use that as motivation to stay away from it.
So, and I don't recall, are you planning on abstaining from sugar for the foreseeable future? Or are you doing a 30-day or kind of what's your plan on the sugar side?
For now, my plan is to just abstain from it. I think at some point I will probably add it back in, but I will work to make sure that it's planned and not an urge in the moment. But at this point, I'm really doing well not having it. And I think for now, I'd rather not add that unless.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I did. I cut out all sugar for a very long time and then have worked it back in. And it worked well for me. So you cut out sugar, you're journaling everything you eat. Have you made any other changes so far?
One other thing just to mention on the journaling, because I was pretty resistant to that for a very long time. And it's turned out to be a much bigger help than I expected it to be. Part of that is I let go of a lot of the ideas of what I thought journaling had to be, and I'm just using it for what works for me. So I'm writing down what I ate, and then I'm also a little bit using it for thoughts I have, either sometimes noting things I'm grateful for, or really using it to help me be more mindful of what I'm eating and when I'm eating. A few different times I went to get a snack, and then when I really paused to think about it, I realized I'm not hungry, I'm bored. And I learned that I'm not great at telling the difference between boredom and hunger. So that's something that I'm really working on being conscious of. As far as other steps, I'm working on drinking more water, which I've done a lot better at, some days more than others, and getting more steps. And honestly, that's the one that I haven't been doing as great at. And I'm also sort of okay with it right now. I think, like I said before, I didn't want to launch into a million changes at once this time. So if I'm more focused on the food and mindful eating and journaling and not eating sugar, I know I can up my steps as I go.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been a believer for a long time that if you have to give a little on the exercise as opposed to the food, because the food is really what, well, I don't know. I was about to say what gets you, but I feel like
you can't outrun a fork, right?
You can't outrun a fork, exactly.
Well, and I think too, making this about me for a moment, because it's my favorite.
Let's topic. Make it about you. Yes.
No, in February, I was focused a lot on getting in my steps, and I was ignoring my overindulgent days. And Donald, do you remember how many times I told you I actually ate in deficit in February? I'll tell you.
I think you said it was 2?
Yes.
2.
It was 2. I ate at a deficit 2 out of 28 days in February.
I listen to things you say once in a while.
I know, but I was trying to make it sound dramatic for our audience. Like, well, it couldn't have been less than burr. That's fine. We'll edit it in post.
All right.
But no, I was focused on my steps in February and realized I wasn't actually focused on eating at a deficit. And guess what? I gained a little bit of weight in February. So I'm trying to remedy that now by actually paying attention to what I'm doing, but I'm focusing less on steps right now and more on my calorie deficit. So I think that is a great thing. And I don't even have to deal with the snow that you have to deal with. Is it still snowing there, or has that passed?
We did get one more snow this past week, but I'm hoping that at this point it's finished.
Do you feel like the weather impacts your motivation for water and exercise and all of that, or are you pretty neutral in that?
I do, in the sense that to me, winter and comfort foods, a lot of hot, heavier foods feel very comforting to me when it's snowing, as opposed to spring when we actually really get spring here, in summer when produce looks great and all the fruit looks delicious and it's easier to be outside walking. I feel like in some sense it does really make it easier. But I also know that I can make the right choices in the snow. I just need to have my head in the right place.
Yeah, I don't think there's a weather loophole in Gretchen Rubin's.
Well, she doesn't know everything.
But
I love you,
maybe we should add one. It's snowy outside, so I don't have to eat well or exercise.
When it's cold, I don't want to drink a bunch of ice water.
No.
Who needs that?
Yeah, no, nobody does.
So, what are you going to do in the next 2 weeks? I know you've got your mom's event coming up. Kind of what are your strategies?
Yeah, are you adding any additional baby steps to this?
So, I'm really going to continue in the one piece that I've been doing, but I know that I can do better, and I'm really going to focus on is really mindful eating. I noticed twice this past week, I started eating my lunch at work, and then a work email came through, and I started dealing with it while I was eating. And then I was taking the last bite out of my bowl, and I didn't remember having tasted anything I just ate. And I realized...
Yeah, I've done that many times.
Yeah. And I realized I don't want to be doing that. I like eating, and I want to enjoy what I eat when I'm eating. So...
Me too.
Well, and speaking of that, there have been times when I've finished the last of something, and I'm like, I'll pay better attention. I'll have one more cookie so that I really enjoy it because I didn't pay attention to the last one. So that's an honest thing. I know that mindful eating thing is a big issue for me, being present in the moment and not being distracted by emails or work things. So I think that is a great choice, mindfulness.
Yeah. And I also realized, when I'm paying attention, frequently over the past few weeks, I've stopped before the food is totally gone because I've realized I'm satisfied. But if I'm not paying attention...
People do that?
If I'm not paying attention, I eat all of it without realizing. So I just decided I'm setting myself a hard rule that if work comes up while I'm eating, I can set my food aside and come back to it in a few minutes, but I'm not going to just mindlessly eat it while I continue working.
That is some A+ adulting right there.
I think you've just given me something to work on because I am really bad at that. I eat at my desk every day, and I usually eat lunch and dinner at my desk, and I am not very good at paying attention to what I'm eating while I'm doing it.
Yeah, there was some grid that I posted the other day of like all the things that fall into mindful eating. There's like 20 things you're supposed to do to eat mindfully. I'm lucky if I just get the pay attention to the last bite bit. So it is still a work in progress.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the advice. I think that's good. I'm going to work on that.
All right. I'm going to work on it too. And also, just to give a little progress update, I am down 8 pounds from where I started.
So, wow! Amazing!
Insert clapping sound. Do we have clapping
I just did literally clap. I don't know if that's annoying or not.
That's amazing.
That's great.
So, I know it's one measure, but it is a good measure. And it's exciting to see that these small changes are having a noticeable payoff already.
Yeah, for sure. That's a healthy pace too. It's been actually 3 weeks since we talked to you the first time, even though this will be posted 2 weeks later. So that's a pretty good clip. 8 pounds in 3 weeks.
She didn't have to get bitten by a shark.
No.
She didn't have to get dysentery. See, there's actual ways you can change your life just by changing your life instead of being bitten by sharks.
That is a harsh, painful truth, which I'm not sure I'm ready for. But.
It is. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for checking in with us on your progress. I think you've taught this old dog, that old dog, Donald, some things about his own.
Oh, I'm the old dog?
You're the old dog.
Oh, what?
But we look forward to keeping up with you.
You're the old dog. I'm not the old dog.
Okay, let's take it offline.
Right.
But have a great time next week at your mom's wedding, and we will check in with you in 2 weeks.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing.
All right, so we'll say goodbye for now, but you don't actually have to hang up. We'll just say goodbye. Okay, goodbye. Bye.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.